Oh, baby. Let's get it. I can't see us, though. Are we live? What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pregame show. Let's go. Man, I'm not going to lie. It's Friday, and it feels like Friday.
Oh, man.
I'm actually re-energized, even though I have one more night of work left. I'm like through the roof because I know I have an off day tomorrow.
Wow. That's impressive. As I explained to you, totally broken as a person.
Can't feel good or anything. Can't feel bad, though, either. You just don't feel.
I just can't believe that people get excited about having off days.
Yeah.
You don't get excited
What
for
kind of
that?
person are you?
You don't get excited for an off day?
Love them. They're my favorite days, man. They're my favorite days. But people around here be faking. They're like, oh, I missed you guys so much. It sucked not having the Nuggets play today. I'm like, hey, man, we all need a break.
Yeah.
Wow, that went lower than I expected. On today's show, the Nuggets are taking on the Timberwolves. Game of the year? Might be. It's one of them. It's a big game. Feels like a lot is at stake for the Nuggets, so we're going to be breaking all of that down. We're also going to talk about load management. Why? The Nuggets load managed over the weekend, then laid an egg in their last game. Are those things correlated? They might be. I have a theory.
Smokes.
And then, I don't know if you guys heard the latest, but the Wolves are not selling. The deal is off. And that has implications for a lot of people, including some that are near and dear to us. Later on the show, we're going to make money betting on it. Superstar Dev is here.
Whenever I think about like people like reneging or just taking back a deal that they made, I just think about me being a monster in Monopoly. I'm like one of the best that's ever done it at Monopoly. I'm the banker. I'm really good if I'm the banker. Sure. Yeah,
big bank take little bank
every time.
That's especially when you're loose with the rules. Somehow
I don't have as much money when I'm not the banker. Yeah. It's
wild. I've also got D-line go.
That's right, guys. I'm ready. Am I ready? Let's find out.
Let's find out together, shall we? The Nuggets are playing host to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first of two games here to close out the year. And those two games are the most important. Why? Because the Nuggets and Timberwolves are locked up in the standings right now, competing for that number 1 or perhaps number 2. And if you lose everything, the number 3 seed. So there's a lot at stake here. It's a big one. Denver technically half a game ahead of Minnesota, but this one will obviously flip things. Let's get to some game notes from Michael Malone. Bad news, everybody. Jamal Murray's out.
What the hell, man?
What?
That ankle injury that turned into a knee injury that somehow is also a shin splints, also injury. Let me give you what Malone said, because I'm not going to lie, it doesn't sound the best to me, although it doesn't sound the worst, but we thought he was going to be back sooner. He's getting better, but not ready to compete at the level that we need him to. Okay, so that means he's like not 70%, not 80%, because it sounds like he would play if he was that. So he's not even those things. And then he says, I think he could be back before the start of the playoffs.
What?
He said the next game...
I think he can be back.
He thinks so. He says that they play a matinee on Sunday, and he, without saying, made it sound like I doubt he plays in that one. And then he says, and to wrap up the homestand, we have San Antonio, I believe, next week. And he says, I think he's going to be back sometime soon, sometime before the playoffs, but... And then he wouldn't say, but he's out tonight. So to me, that makes it sound... My guess is that I would not expect him on Sunday either. After that, Malone was too vague, but definitely sounds like they're going to be extra cautious with him, and also that he's just not quite ready.
Yeah, this is a really tough spot to be in as a fan or like just someone that follows the team, because you want Jamal to be in a rhythm, in a groove heading into the playoffs. I mean, he's the amplifier. He's one that takes them to a new level, but also you also want him to be healthy heading into the playoffs. So it's like you don't want to push it, but also you don't want him to come in rusty. So tough spot to be in, but also, I mean, health is the most important piece. So you need him healthy, and you need to have the Nuggets at their best, and that's only if Jamal is healthy.
This is terrible. Man, I hate this.
I hate it too.
I don't feel good about this at all. I was sure he'd be back today. I was sure he'd be back last game. Yikes, man. Come on, man. Jamal Murray legs? Like, what? Come on, man. Like, why's it got to be like this?
I don't think you should panic just yet.
I'm panicking.
Why
didn't you say this before you told me that?
Well, I don't think you should panic just yet about, like, the big implication.
No, I know,
this big an injury. Although I don't think it's nothing. Like, it is a thing where they would come out and say, oh, it's a week. Well, we'll reevaluate it on Monday or something like that. So there is something that's like, yeah, they don't know how long this is going to last. They need some time, and it's best not to push it. That in and of itself is concerning, and it will affect now this home stretch push. Because as much as Denver didn't have the hardest schedule, they do have games like tonight where Murray being available obviously ups their odds significantly. So tonight, I think it changed the texture of this game quite a bit, Dev.
Yeah, and it's such an important game. That's why, there's a little bit of worry, just because this is such an important game and Jamal's not playing in it. And everyone says if this was a playoff game, then he would be playing. This feels like a playoff game.
Yeah.
And that takes away from, like, the moment. I'm still excited for the game. I'm still excited to see, like, what it looks like. But also, it just goes to show that he's not ready, and sounds like he's not going to be ready for a bit.
It also means, like, you want him to come back. Jamal Murray being in great shape, not good, but great shape, is absolutely necessary for the Nuggets to win a title. He cannot ease himself into this playoffs. He cannot be a guy that is not getting free. Like, he has to shake free of guys like he does in the postseason. So now you start to look at it and go, if he comes back with 3 games left, is he a little out of shape? Because when your legs are hurt, it's hard to stay in shape. So now you start to worry about those types of things. Again, not time to panic, but it is going to be a story for us to follow as we go forward. Michael Malone did say he thought Colin was very good in the first half of last game, but was hesitant in the second half. And he says his big thing is he can't be hesitant if he's going to be out there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. He really looked like the moment suddenly got too big for him in that, like, and that just comes from reps and time, but like it just showed that he's like not ready.
Dev, Minnesota is averaging 22 points a game off of turnovers. Malone says that will be a key, and then also you would not guess this based on their personnel. Second best 3-point shooting team in the NBA, Minnesota Timberwolves. Malone cited those two things: turnovers, defending the 3-point line, as major keys tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that is shocking. The defense makes sense. They have, like, the defensive player of the year, like, 3-time or something like that, about to be 4. And then you have really good guards that, like, put pressure on opposing guards and enforce them to Rudy Gobert. The threes one, that is a little bit shocking to me. But, I mean, if you have a team that's Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, those guys can shoot the ball, and then you just kind of have that type of spacing with Rudy Gobert in the middle. That's a pretty balanced team. And Denver has to run them off of the 3-point line and then try to score in transition if they're going to be able to score on the other end of the floor.
He also gave a shout-out to Naz Reid. I'm not surprised Malone loves Naz Reid. He really loves that guy. Called it a great signing and talked about all the different things he can do. I actually think Naz Reid is like a huge X factor tonight. Because who's he going up against? How are they going to play him? Are they going to start him? The starting lineups are probably out if one of you guys want to search for it. Are they going to start him? Does he come off the bench? If he just murders the bench in a stagger, that would be a very concerning thing. And they compared Anthony Edwards to D. Wade. That's my favorite comp. I think Anthony Edwards and Dwayne Wade are the most. That's a good comp for Anthony Edwards. Fearless and relentless.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is good. It's really hard to root against him. Like, he's authentically him, and he does not care about it. And also, he just doesn't back down from the moment. Like, he's a guy that I feel like it's easy to root for, even though he's on another team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got, like, the right spirit.
Yeah.
You can, like, he's like a dick in the right amount, and then he's also a competitor, and he's also doesn't take himself seriously, but then also takes everything very seriously. He's, like, just like the right amount of guy that it's just like, I agree with you. It's like easy to root for him. And then you could just be like, he's a Team USA guy. He's a USA guy. So.
He's the guy that she told you not to worry about.
yeah.
All right, it's time to find out who's going to eat tonight, fellas. Dev, start us off. Circle K presents who's going to eat tonight.
I really hope and want it to be a Christian Brown eat type of night. Just to get out of his own head. This is a game that I feel like you'll have opportunity to be on the court a bit more. So, like, how do you make the best of that opportunity? You out and just go play. I think that he needs to just play, not overthink it. You don't have to be this cerebral offensive guy. Just go and get back to your bread and butter, and that's playing hard, bringing the energy, and leaving it all out on the floor. So I think that he has a good opportunity to eat.
All right.
Jokic. Nikola Jokic.
He's got to.
He has to eat. That's exactly why. He has to, and he's going up against old snack Rudy Gobert. Brother, I got 47. and he doesn't have the twin towers to be able to focus in on him. They're definitely still going to double him, but Nikola Jokic saw what happened last game when he himself took his foot off the gas. The rest of the team took their foot off the gas, and they turned in like a lifeless, bloodless performance that made us all grumpy. And I hope that, I do believe them when they say that they want the number 1 seed. So I got to think that if he wants it, he would have to go for it tonight. So my man Jokic is going to eat. Nikola Jokic. What do you think of that one?
What is it? I mean, honestly, it's a good one because he puts up a 25, 12, and 9. You can't count that as eating. It's got to be something better. So what's a line that you think would be eating for him tonight?
30 points.
So he's having a little feast. Just a little.
That for him, that's where he starts. That's like the beginning of an eat.
But so he's eating, but
30 points against Rudy Gobert is like a lot of points.
That's a lot of points. He doesn't want to score. That's like above his average. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think it'll be 30 plus. But if he scores 30, that means he's.
You think it'll be a top 30 scoring game for him this year? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's how many times he scored 30 points this year. So,
listen, there's 82 games. I mean, that's still like
that's
not
still
even half.
On the upper half.
That's lower than half.
Oh, there you go. So the starting lineup came out, by the way, for the Timberwolves. They're going with Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, and Rudy Gobert. So that tells me they're going to go to the Rui adjustment. They're going to put Naz on Yoke, Gobert on Aaron Gordon. And to me, that makes the most interesting question. I said this a couple weeks back. What team was it that did it? It was the Lakers with Anthony Davis. And Yoke did such a good job of never being in position for Anthony Davis to be in help while still scoring. And it made me think, I wonder if he's really solved something of that. That'll be the most interesting thing I'm looking for tonight. Does Yoke, because Yoke can score on Naz Reid every time, but he has to also avoid Gobert. And if he does that tonight successfully, it'll be like, boom. That part is probably solved. Now, no Murray. There are pieces of their offense they're not going to be able to get to. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go with Michael Porter tonight.
Yeah.
What was missing last game? What could they not do? Make threes. Tonight, I think there's going to be a healthy dose of, one, the Timberwolves looked at that game last game. They're like, Denver only scored 97 at home. Why? Oh, they just forced them to shoot threes, and they don't have Murray. I think Mike needs a 5-3 night. I think he needs 5 threes. A 5-3 night. That's a Brendan vote right there.
A 5. Yeah.
He's not watching. Come on, who are we kidding? Do we have the Nuggets starting lineup? Nobody looks.
Well, I mean, we're foisted into different roles. We didn't really talk about it.
All right, we have it right here. It is going to be Reggie. So just Reggie, KCP, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, and Yoke. No surprise there.
Yeah.
That's going to be the starting lineup. Let's move on now to our second topic, which is load management. So I do the show with Legs. Not a believer in load management. He says, these guys, you got to become tough. You got to work your body. Your body's sore, supposed to be sore. Get on that court and play. You sit, it throws off your rhythm. George Karl, same thing. He's like, I feel like you might be saving your body but losing your mind when you do this. Then I watch the Nuggets load manage against Portland. They rest some guys. I watch them load manage against Memphis. And then I watch them bring their squad, minus Murray. He's not load managing. He's actually hurt. I see them bring their squad to the Suns. How'd they play? Because they've been pretty good since the break, right?
Yeah,
they've been really locked in.
They played poorly. They played without effort, without heart, without any sort of, I don't know. They weren't eating.
They were not eating. And so it makes me wonder, honestly, rhythm is so important. And I do think that we have moneyballed the NBA a little bit without really understanding all of the variables. And there's this thing of like, okay, guys are more rested, but they're also just weaker and less focused. You know what I mean? Honestly, like there's this thing of
we're done with the 2020s.
We're done with the 2020s. Go back to playing every night. I know it's silly, but tonight if I were to if I asked this question a week ago, will the Nuggets get up for the Timberwolves game? You'd be like, of course. Have you seen them since the All-Star break? They're locked in. But these last 3 games have felt like preseason, and I'm not sure if the Nuggets are locked in again. And that's kind of my point. Tonight, I think we're going to get an A-plus effort for the Nuggets, but I don't know, and I'm not blaming it on load management. It's probably smart that they load manage. But I do think it's a hidden consequence of load management is that it's hard to turn it off and turn it back on again.
I don't even know if this is – I mean, this is not like – I guess it is. I'm just not thinking about this as load management so much as just a feeling of completion. Like they feel like they've already accomplished what they need to, and now
It
they're
very
coasting.
well could be, actually. The Nuggets could just be like,
I
we're
think
the
they
3
have
seed.
senioritis again a little bit, like they did last year.
So you kind of expect pain tonight.
Well, I don't know, man. Like I think it had to have sucked after last. It certainly did for me. It made me feel very stupid for caring about this team, but I'm curious to see how they bounce back because unlike last year, their position is very much in flux. I hope that they snap back to it, but I also feel like they might just be like the end is so near that they are just kind of taking their foot off the gas again. I hope that's not the case, but it's entirely possible.
Yeah, I mean, like you talked about, that rhythm is important, those patterns. Basketball players are superstitious and things. Like you want to go through the same type of routine, and you take away from that if you go somewhere else and don't play. You still have to go through motions, but it's not the same. Plus, like, I mean, you played in college. Like, you just want to play as much as you can. Like, you take time off.
When you're young, for sure.
Yeah, but, I mean, they're loving. They're doing the thing that they love, and they're getting paid to do that type of thing. You want to play it to the best of your ability. So I think that they just love playing. They just want to be out there. I understand that, like, taking care of their body, but, I mean, it clearly hasn't worked. And then also you talk about legs. You talk about, George Karl, these other coaches that have been around these.
Jamal Murray.
You've been around these type of players all the time. They want them playing all the time. So, like, this has to be something that's true to these players. Like, maybe we should ask more about taking away from that.
I mean, honestly, man, I just think that we're going to have a big, bounce back on all of this stuff. And what it really is going to take is some player to just be the vocal player. And honestly, it might be Anthony Edwards. I would love if Anthony Edwards called other people out for load management. I was just like, what are you guys doing? We're not tired. And then you start shaming people into it, and they're like, oh, all right.
I just love that Tim Legler is like the ultimate hardo. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, back-to-backs don't mean anything.
How do you think he made it into the NBA? You think he made it with his, natural gifts and athleticism? That guy got in there from being the most,
what are you
eating
talking
glass.
about? You eat breakfast every day.
Yeah, come on. Are you hungry or not? Let's go. So I don't know. I'm kind of with it. The other thing I'm with, this ownership story with the Wolves. Boy, am I with it. I am so into this story.
I don't even know what it is. I'm so into it too. No, I can't look away. It's the most interesting thing in the world.
Well, to give the brief history here, Glenn Taylor, one of the worst owners in sports, has owned this Timberwolves team for a while. They've sucked always. He agreed to sell the team, and he sold it to Alex Rodriguez and a guy who used to sell diapers. That's where he made his name. Kind of a weird pairing. Guys that have been a little bit weird, like the type of guys that have kind of fumbled over themselves throughout this whole thing. And the deal was a 3-year sale. Not like here's the cash, here's the team. But over the next 3 years, you'll meet a payment plan that will then make it your team. Glenn Taylor, just 2 days ago, said, or maybe it was yesterday, missed the deadline, no longer for sale. Team is off the market. Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez are saying, that's not true. We've done everything that was within the contract here that still needs to go through. So they have this team that has one of the hottest young superstars. It has, allegedly this TV deal is going to be big. There's expansion coming up where every team in the NBA, every owner in the NBA, whenever expansion hits, gets somewhere. Bill Simmons was saying it was going to be like $300 million check that every owner gets for buying in for a new team. So you have all those things coming. So maybe this is Glenn Taylor trying to renegotiate his deal or finding an out so that he can extract some money. Maybe Alex Rodriguez couldn't come up with money. But here's the interesting thing for us and why I find it fascinating. Tim Connelly departed Denver because he was told that this new ownership group would offer equity stake in the Minnesota Timberwolves. But if the new group's sale never goes through, does that equity transfer? I don't think so. That would be a crazy twist in the Tim Connelly saga if it were to turn out that he does not end up receiving equity and still just went to Minnesota.
Dude, you want to talk about entering through the side door? That is insane. Like, that, what an unbelievable. I will be beside myself angry if I think that Tim Connelly was essentially taken from us for nothing, for no good reason.
Well, I mean, he did make more money even just on pure salary, so there is that. But I don't think Tim would have left for the salary alone.
No, it was the equity. That was the thing we were like, well, you can't say no to that.
That's can't say no to equity. Owning a team?
But you can't
give
say
that
no
to your children one day.
But you can say no to a moderate raise to go to a different place to start over, not get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, not get to enjoy, the end story of the thing that you created. Obviously, we're in a fine place, but we're in a fine place now because of Tim Connelly. Like, it's no guarantee that this thing stays on the rail past the outline that's already been set. I mean, I whatever, but like, God damn it, that makes me mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a wild story. Like, listen, I mean, just going from his side, I was once in a relationship, and in this relationship, very sweet girl. I didn't want to be with her anymore.
This sounds like one of your relationships.
She was super nice. I looked for anything to get my way out of there. The first argument there was, I'm like, we're done.
We're done here.
I'm just trying to find something. I feel like he was just trying to find something there, just so that he didn't have to sell anymore. Because, I mean, A-Rod and them are just like, hey, that's not true. That's not what happened here. But he was just trying to get his way out because, like, maybe there's a reevaluation process or just going through it. But, like, the number isn't what he wanted it to be, and he felt like he got robbed. So he just looked for any argument, any excuse to get to that point, and it's not right. And then the Tim Connelly aspect is even – that's wild to think about because you uproot your family and you have – think about knowing next year you're going to be a millionaire, like a multimillionaire for the foreseeable future. And then that's just taken away out of nowhere.
That would be insane, man.
That's a wild thought to think about. Like, we're just thinking about the right now and him taken away from the Nuggets. But, like, what about his life? Like, it was generational, like, type of money that he was going to get. And now it's just gone. And he can't explain or answer why. You can't take it back. So, like, that's a rough spot to be in. And it's just, like, unfair. That is a wild story. I have to follow it.
You have to follow it. It's going to be a story that takes a year and a half to play out. So follow it very slowly and over time. I just say that to say, I always say, I don't care like or hate the Cronkies. I think it's weird to think of that. You just think of them in relation to what they mean to you, which is the owner of your team. And I always say, it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse.
Turns out it's just generally a lot worse.
For most places.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just generally speaking, it's a lot worse.
And I will just say, if you go back, and as I did yesterday, and watch the press conference from when he talked about Tim Connelly leaving in that sale, there were a lot of references to Josh Kroenke talking about the flimsy nature of the ownership group that he just kind of threw little barbs in there that is kind of interesting. So take that for what you will. All right. Let's get to everybody's favorite part. Open up the Bet365 Never Ordinary app. Our presenting sponsor, of course, of the show, along with Miller Time. It is Miller Time right now, although it's not Murray time.
I know. What the H, bro?
Not Murray time, but it is Miller time. We'll open up the Bet365 Never Ordinary app. Dev, take it away.
This is a game that has kind of went all over the place with the line because of players being out. This was all the way up to 7.5. It is now all the way down to 3 because, I mean, Jamal Murray's not in anymore. I haven't seen a jump like that.
Nuggets still favored, though.
So Denver comes in the game as 3-point favorites for all the marbles. There's a lot on this game. Denver has a chance to clinch a playoff spot. They can also go into the number 1 and lock that in while, like, separating themselves. If they lose, they could go down, like, all the way. Like, there's a lot in this game. This is a very important game, playoff type of game. So I'm expecting that. I like Denver -3. I just think they show up. You kind of have to show up. And
I'm so nervous about this game, and I don't know what to believe. But I'm going with it.
We go to the last game, and it was like Jokic. He just wasn't aggressive. He knows he has to be aggressive in this game, and aggressive Jokic is the best player in the entire world. I love it. I also like the over 212. I think that's just too low. The reason that people can't score on Minnesota, they have very good guards, and also they have a big man that people cannot score on. I don't know if you guys ever heard this quote, but brother, I have 47.
Let's go.
He could score on him. For Minnesota side of things, I'm not silly. This is a big game. Who takes shots in big games?
Monte Morris, big game Tay.
Big game Tay. Bet it up.
It's Anthony Edwards.
Oh, that's right, Anthony Edwards.
Give me the over for Anthony Edwards. It's at 26 points. We know he can score. He does what he wants. I like the over on Gobert rebounds at 12. Now, off of them, I didn't even want to talk about them. I didn't want to bet money on them, but I love money, so I had to go that way.
Yeah.
For Denver's side of things, let's start with our bread and butter, and it's due. He owes us some. Over, Michael Porter Jr., 3-pointers. Over 2.5. I know that this is going to hit. I also think that it's going to hit early.
Really?
You said that he needs to get up to 5. Like, I know
does.
he's going to get the 2.5. So let's make sure that we get the 2.5 on our boards. Reggie Jackson has a brutal matchup. This was going to be a tough matchup for Jamal to come into.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. They have physical guards and like just people that want to get under you. Mike Conley Jr. is just like a super like high IQ player. It was going to be rough for him. I think that it's still going to be rough, but Reggie Jackson just has a little bit more of that live wire. You don't know what to expect with him. So I don't think that you guard him the same type of way. I think that he gets over 5 assists. I think it's just too low for him. I like it. I like how Michael Porter Jr. has been on the boards lately. Give me over 6.5 rebounds. I think that he'll have the opportunity.
Interesting.
I think Jokic is going to have to battle with Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert for rebounds. So there's going to be somebody else that gets to swoop in. Michael Porter Jr. is good at swooping in for those. AG has been scoring a lot lately and taking that pressure off of Jokic. And plus, their chemistry still seems to be intact. His points are too low at 13.5. And this is a tougher matchup with a center because I think that he is going to go against Gobert. But also, Gobert's not going to chase out onto him. So I think he knocks down a few mid-ranges, knocks down a three-pointer or two. So I like that. We could also get the three-point bet, but I like 13.5 on the points, plus AG to knock down at least one three-pointer. I like
the three-pointer for sure.
I think he's gonna knock it down.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to get them out of the paint. I think he knocks down a three-pointer. I think Jokic knocks down a three-pointer.
I do too. I was about to ask you about that one.
I like both. For Gordon, I like his defensive bet of 1.5 steals plus block combo. I just think they're going to try to go in at him a lot. They're going to try to either foul him out or just try to put him in a compromised spot. He's going against Naz Reid, who also is a big man. He's not like going to have like the physicalness over him like he does a lot of other players. So I think that he's going to have the opportunities for blocks. He has quick hands. He's going to get a couple of steals. I like the over 1.5 steals plus blocks. And for the lock,
finally,
the good one. Now you can wake up.
No.
I'm going to go over. Nikola Jokic on points. Minnesota, they feel very good about having Gobert or Naz Reid with like one-on-one coverage with like a guy roaming. That's just not going to work. They're going to have to put Gobert on Jokic. Jokic embarrasses him. He also just seems to go at whoever you think is your best defender or whoever is like a very good defender. He just scores on them every single time. I think this is a game that he's going to be able to score in a variety of ways. We'll see a lot of floaters. I think he knocks down a couple of three-pointers. I think it's just going to be a scoring barrage. Plus, he's coming off of a game that he was not aggressive offensively. I'm expecting a monster game, so I'm going to go over Jokic points.
I like that.
I think it's, look, I'd be so disappointed if he doesn't go balls to the wall tonight. I think he will, man.
I agree.
Do you have any bets you love?
I'm taking KCP steals.
Steals?
Yeah, I'm in on that.
Conley doesn't turn it over, but maybe somebody else
Tim Connelly does.
Monte Morris doesn't turn it over either. It's tough, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, there you go. All right, guys. That does it for us. We're going to go down to the bar. We have a watch-along tonight. You guys should come watch it. It's a different watch-along because we're doing it with the March Madness and a bunch of other stuff. But nonetheless, you should come over there and watch it because it's literally just us hanging out at the bar. You can hang out with us. We'll try to help you match up the score and time and everything. And just hang out with us while we eat, drink, make bets, and hopefully cheer on a win for our Denver Nuggets. Hit that like button. See you on the other side.
We all silly like the mayor.